All for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Evening, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Myself and Paddy, I'll try and talk about that Wolves game, a game I found utterly frustrating. But yeah, that's all we need to say about it. Can we finish the podcast now? Utterly frustrating game, a game whereby two absolutely horrendously crappy goals that we conceded come back to bite us in the arse again, just like this happened so many times this season. That's my real synopsis of it, and I think it'd be very difficult to disagree with it, to be honest with you. But Paddy, I know you didn't get to watch it in real time, so you had the ignominy of knowing about the poorness of the game, and then still having to watch it back again afterwards. So maybe watching it back with a clean set of eyes and not being in the moment and getting caught in the emotion. I haven't watched it back yet. And I probably won't either, to be honest with you, because there's little to nothing to discern from that game, if I'm being honest. But what did you feel about the game, Paddy?
Well, look, I can only tell you what my emotion was like when I saw the goals coming in, because I was at a family event and I couldn't watch it. So I was really, really frustrated to see us go 2-0 down, and even more frustrating to watch it back and see the goals then later on. Look, it was a poor game, first and foremost. I'm reluctant to sit through something like that again. So in future, I'm just going to tell family, I'll be back in an hour and a half and I'm going out to watch this, because I'm not going to sit through it knowing that we're after losing to probably our nearest rivals.
I love the way you went there. I'll just tell family I'll be back there in an hour and a half or so. It wouldn't be that I just fucking wouldn't watch it. It'd be, no, I'm definitely watching it, but whatever's going on in the family event, that can wait.
That can wait, yeah. But sitting through it again was hard work. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was reading through Twitter, which in itself tells you something, doesn't it?
I agree with that. I think Twitter really ripped it to shreds. And I think there's a lot of groupthink on Twitter, and that's cool too, because I get caught up in the positive emotions as well. I found the game lackluster. I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah,
I found it lackluster. I found it frustrating. I found the changes were shite, to be honest. In the main, yes, Sanson got in his 26 pressures, the most of any player, Aston Villa player this season. But what did he do when he got pressure on the ball? They still got their passes away. He didn't affect the game in anything like that. We had no defensive midfielder. Again, it's a game I've seen. It's a game I've seen about 7 times this season, and I'm going to name nearly all of those 7 games, bar one of them anyway that wouldn't have followed this pattern in a moment when we go on to talk about something in a minute. But it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating to see that midfield is just zero bite. His zero bite, none.
And it's disappointing, because I think between the 3 players that are out there, there's obviously a decent player in all 3 of them.
Yes. Yeah.
I really don't think John McGinn has been utilised in his best position. I just, when you see what he can do at international level, playing in a 10 or a 9.5 or whatever it is he's playing in, he scores goals. He gets involved. He creates goals. There's so much going on, and then we're playing him as a 6. Now, when I saw the team come out, obviously I wasn't around for the team sheet tantrum. I would have put my hat on the fact that it was going to be Sanson at 6. That's what I thought was going to happen. But
I couldn't see it.
It didn't seem to be. The minute it kicked off, everybody knew it wasn't. But look, you're right. It was a poor game, and I think the synopsis is we lost the game because of 2 errors. Well, 3 errors. There was 2 errors in the first goal, and there was 1 error in the second. Credit to McGinn, he slipped on the halfway line and got back to make a block. Absolutely brilliant block in the lead up to the goal. But there's only so many blocks you can get away with before someone pings it into the top corner. So, look, it was a poor goal to give away. It was a poor mistake. Ming slipped, Konza slipped.
McGinn was the
So,
reason we lost that goal. Like, you can call whatever you
oh,
want,
of course.
because
Yeah.
what is he doing in
Was there,
midfield there?
was there any need to go buy someone at that stage? Probably not.
No,
And
no,
then
number
slip.
6. Let the ball off, get back into position. He was even out of position for that pivot player. That pivot player at 6. He was playing in his normal position, not where you would think he would have been playing if he was playing as number 6. We're suggesting he's playing as number 6. I think the world has done that at this moment in time. But he was just get rid of it, man. Like, if you're playing at 6, you don't need to go fucking right or over stuff. I found that really frustrating. You ran into 3 players. If you can't see 3 players in front of you, or if you think that you can get around them and you're essential defensive midfielder, or you weren't told what to do at the start of the game, which I find very, very interesting if that is the case, or if it's a floating 6 position where maybe Sanson could have gone in there or whatever. That to me is rubbish if that is the case. But you can't give away the ball there. Whatever about Konza. No, Konza, there was no need for Konza to go for that ball. He had no way in the world. If he was another 2 foot taller, was he going to get that ball? He needed to stay on his feet, turn around to shape his man up. There's no need to be arcing your head backwards to try and see where the ball is. Get into your position. Oh, I found that one really frustrating. But for me, McGinn gets all the blame for that goal. All of it.
Oh, he
There's
does.
no
Yeah.
take on a player there. And that for me was a ball breaker.
I did say, you have to give the credit for the hard work they did to get back and make the block, but unfortunately it broke again and they scored. But I wouldn't be playing him as a 6. I'd struggle to play him as an 8. I think he should be playing further on. He's obviously in the plans. We need to be playing him in his most beneficial position to the team. So for me, that's not 6. I honestly hoped it was Sanson when I saw the team. I just couldn't get my head around the fact. No matter say what you like about Douglas Luiz, he's the best we have in there at the moment without Nakamba. I think Nakamba is going to be back as soon as he's fit and ready. Haven't seen what's happened to Luca Dean. I hope they don't rush him back. And,
well, all that happened to Luca Dean was he dosed the Scots, I think, really.
Is that all?
He had gastroenteritis, so he was just food poisoning or something. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's grand. Look, whatever. Like, to be honest with you, everybody knows my feelings on what the situation is there and how vital he is to the team. For me, you can't be playing a game running down the wing and puking over your shoulder, or even worse, running down the wing and something's following on behind you, dropping on the field. You can't be doing that. So, like, sometimes a stomach issue. Yeah, and sometimes a stomach issue, maddening as all as it is that somebody might have to go off for a stomach issue. It just, from health and safety, from a hygiene point of view, you probably nearly even have to, I think, and there's probably a discussion to be had about the game, that for something like this, potentially you could have, like, what we could have done, I suppose, really, if they don't know how bad it was, they could have taken him off. It could have taken him 10 seconds to stick his fingers back his throat, got sick, or whatever way it was. I don't know, but alleviate the situation and then come back on the field. But then we would have had to play with 10 men. So maybe there could have been like a temporary substitution that could come in. They're talking about 5 subs. Maybe it might even be a better situation if there was 3 subs and a temporary sub or something like that for a situation like this, or for concussion injuries or something like that. I don't know. But look, it didn't happen. He came off and Ashley Young came on at left back. And to this day, I don't know. I'm baffled. There's, what is it? The third secret of Fatima. I have a better chance of figuring that out than how the hell he thought he was going to be able to head the ball over the bar from that position and put it in the back of his net. What was he thinking? Like what was he thinking? It was real amateur hour for the 2 goals we gave away. It was real, and I don't go in on Villa, and I don't get frustrated that much, but my God, the 2 goals were literally just like they're 2 blooper reels. Like,
yeah, that's it. It's frustrating, and that's the overriding emotion. It's not anger, it's frustration. I think if you look at the game the way I looked at it, knowing exactly what way it was going to pan out, either team could have won it. A draw probably would have been a fair result, although it probably would have been a bit of smash and grab if we robbed it there at the end. Watkins should have had a hat-trick, not could have, should have. Definitely, in my mind, should have had. He nearly missed the bloody penalty then. So, It's just
Was it a
one of those
penalty,
games.
Paddy? Was it a
Pardon?
penalty? Do you think it was a penalty?
I think by what they're giving all year, it was a penalty. Yeah, if it was against me,
I
I
think
might
so
be a bit
too.
pissed
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the exact same. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. And look, while I'm getting a bit hot under the collar about the 2 goals, very much so the 2 goals were, I just I can't get them out of my head. They were just, there's no legislation for some of the lack of football intelligence is what I'm going to call it. Lack of football
Mm.
intelligence, leaders within the team. And that's what's killing me this season. That's why I said I've seen this game 7 times already this season. I've seen it. I've seen this game, or I've seen that period of play, that patch of play, that 15, 20 minutes of play. I've seen it 7 or 8 times this season already. And that's the infuriating thing, because it's players like people get on Mings back when Mings make a mistake. He's the captain. McGinn makes a mistake today. He's the vice captain. Ashley Young is the experienced man in the team. He had the ball into the back of his net at the back post. He would have been even better off not even going for it and letting the Wolves player go for it, because there's no way he would have pulled off a better finish. So it's these things that are really killer. Fine if you had a Ben Christine that was in at the back post there, and maybe was hearing ghosts behind him and headed into the back of the net. You go, I feel sorry for the lad or whatever. I do not feel sorry for an experienced international player heading the ball into his net the way that he did there, or an experienced international player thinking he can run straight through three players while he's out of position playing as a defensive midfielder in midfield. That's a big problem, and that's something. If it means getting rid of players, I'm all for it, regardless of who they are at this stage, because that's something that needs to change, because that's the infuriating thing. And I'm not saying get rid of those 2 players, but if someone has to be sacrificed to make an example, I don't know. It's just killing me. The lack of football intelligence and leadership is killing me at the moment.
I think there's a lot at play, but I definitely don't think we're going to see Ashley Young's contract renewed. I just can't see it from any stretch of the imagination at this stage. I'd be even surprised if they kept him on in a coaching capacity. I honestly don't see any future there. It's not as a left back anyway, that's for sure. He has played a few fairly solid games in midfield. He's done okay for us in some games, but I don't think he's had a good game at left back yet. Maybe that's just my tainted memory, but I feel he hasn't had a good game at fullback.
Yeah, and I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to roll back some of the things that I've said here. I don't want to just be everyone coming on. Oh, here's Neil again giving out about Ashley Young. That's not what it is. I really, really want every single player. I don't want to be this guy that's laughing away, going, "Oh, I told you so." And I'm not even doing the whole thing there. Okay, I just forget about that anyway for a moment. If Ashley Young plays the next 8 games at left back, or wherever the hell he plays it in the team, that's fine. If he plays well, we will say he played well. But there's just stuff that he does, or in a position he's unfamiliar with, that he played when he was 30. He started playing when he was 32 years of age. That just is, for me, is begging belief at times. And that's it. That's I'm like a broken record. I
agree with you.
Not wanting to talk about it, because it seems like all I'm talking about at the moment, and I hate that. I hate listening to any podcast, whether it's about whatever sport, and you just hear one person who's just kind of seems like they're going in on someone. That's not what I want to be. I certainly don't want to be about this. So I'm going to actually kind of stop talking about Ashley Young at the moment, because I want him to succeed. I really do. And I don't want to get the name of that guy who just is going 2-footed in with an Aston Villa player, because I want every Aston Villa player to be the best player in their position, regardless of age, regardless of experience, regardless of anything. I honestly do.
And you're not slagging him off. You're saying it as it is. This is not a witch hunt. Like this is telling it like it is. The two of us are on the same page with this. We want every player on that pitch to do well, and it's just unfortunate for him. It's just not working out there.
Yeah.
So, but he's not the only one. There was a few. What was with everybody slipping and sliding all over the place? McGinn did it. Konza did it. Mings did it. Ramsey did it. Ramsey did it a couple of times, I think. It was a strange one. It really was a strange one.
And it's like that's gone under the radar as well. I think like our midfield was exceptionally. It was probably our worst collective performance from midfield. I think in the game, because midfield just completely bypassed us. They had an old man in there in midfield as well, Moutinho, and he could find space in the ball, he could find time on the ball. Then Donker played really well, really, really well. He seems to show up against us every time, he usually does. They had their two one reserve full back in anyway, and we didn't really trouble them. Yeah, I think he got a yellow card, all right, but that was about it. But look, yeah, it was just a frustrating one. Like Jacob Ramsey didn't have his best game either. I thought he was just out of the game quite long periods of it. He wasn't able to play himself into it. That's okay. 20-year-old player, going to expect that from him. He has all the potential in the world, but you're going to have games like that. Even the best players have games like that. You see Curtis Jones, who would be more highly thought of somebody like a Jacob Ramsey. He's games like that for Liverpool too. Playing in a better side, you think maybe he could pick and choose his time when he wants to get on the ball. But young players have that, and not making excuses for him. It's another game we couldn't get the ball to Coutinho. It's another game we couldn't get it to him, and that's the familiar part. When we can't get the ball to Coutinho, what do we really do in this team? And that's becoming all too familiar at the minute.
When we had two strikers, we could get the ball to Coutinho. It was working well. And why it was changed back, I don't know. Why not put Leon Bailey in a more advanced position and get him to stretch those defenders and make a bit of space in behind for Coutinho? I don't get how it works so well, and then we go back to 2 10s. It's just, I don't know.
Well, actually, I think Bailey played as a striker. I think.
Yeah, but he got frustrated and he dropped very deep. And the minute he dropped deep, we weren't getting anywhere. That's what I felt.
I agree. I thought things didn't come off for him. I think he's almost too out of. I said in the team sheet tantrum, which was on the Villa View, which we did take over for the Villa View, with the team sheet tantrum. For those of you who are maybe wondering where we were, the thing I mentioned is that with three at the back, putting him up there top and having somebody who just completely plays out of structure like Bailey could help us. But when he dropped deep, he was just marshaled off and sucked off. Sorry, that sounds awful, but he was just kind of sucked into the whole area by Marcel and Moutinho and Kilman and the like. So he couldn't he couldn't really do anything. He couldn't find any space or anything like that. But look, I'm not as down on Bailey because I just think he deserves, we've given lots of players lots of rope, to show what they can do, and Bailey just hasn't really gotten any kind of stability. Hasn't got any real run in the team, getting 10-15 minutes there for somebody like that. Coming into a new league as well, it's going to be difficult to find his space. He's a write-off for the year, and I think that's the way we need to see it from him. And anything we get from him from here on in as a bonus. Not saying that he'd be sold or anything, because I think that there obviously is a player in there, but it's just about where do we put him in this current team, and we can't really.
I think there's a huge danger that he could be sold. I think if someone
I think it'd be silly
with the right offer, he's out the door.
Yeah, if we recouped our money on him, I think if we recouped our money on a lot of players that we paid, we'd sell them.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, we're heading for a big clear out, and anyone that doesn't fit into the system is going to be up for grabs. And from what we've seen, Bailey isn't fitting into the system. Of any of the games that are setups that Gerrard has done, I just can't see where Bailey fits in.
Yeah, I can't, but I think potentially, and I know there's a lot of fanfare about McBeal and Steven Gerrard want to play this formation. This is their preferred formation. To be honest with you, I think when you've got coaches of the caliber of the likes of Aaron Danks and McBeal and Tom Culshaw and those guys that are there, their system can be changed. They can change their system, but it's difficult to do it in season. It's difficult to do it in season, number one, when you come in mid-season and then you're trying something that's working, and then it gets found out, and then try it again. That's a small bit difficult. But I would be expecting that we would get more versatile players. And look, to be really honest, and I know they didn't play with it with Rangers, but if you've got the brain trust of Johan Lang, Purslow, and those three coaches that I've just mentioned there, along with Gary Mack, if you've got them looking at the team and saying, oh yeah, I will go into 2022, 2023 without a defensive midfielder, this podcast could get very ranty very, very quickly. Very, very ranty very, very quickly. But I think there's no way. Look, there's too much coming out of there's too much in the news or in the papers about Calvin Phillips, about Bissouma, about defenders. And I think that there's a reason for that. I think that, I think we will recoup money from the players that we sell, because look, even if a team isn't performing that well, and a lot of people will go, oh yeah, but sure, you only finished 10th, or we could still finish 9th in the Premier League, which is an improvement. I did the maths last night. I did the maths just before we came on. We could finish with 48 points if we got 4 more wins, and that potentially could see us at 9th position, which means we finish higher in the league than we have any time over the last 2 seasons. Yes, granted, we have less points. But still, we finished on 54 last season. It wouldn't be a massive drop off in 6 points in a drop off. But in a season where we change managers, I think.
And considering the disruption we've had and the change of managers and the awful preseason that we had, that might not be a bad way to finish. I think I'd snap your hands off for 4 more wins at this stage.
Well, if you think about it, like if we don't beat Norwich, there's an issue. Now, I know Brighton left me down. Brighton left me down for, Paddy, don't tell anyone. Brighton left me down for €1,000 at the weekend. They had 30 shots on goal against Norwich and they couldn't score. Don't tell anyone that.
That sounds like something we would do against Norwich. Something we have done against Burnley, I think, at one stage.
You can imagine how high the blood pressure was. It come 5 o'clock, come 5:30, you can imagine how high the blood pressure was now at that stage, after Villa going out with a whimper and then Brighton not being able to convert one of their 30 odd shots, against Norwich. But you'd have to think that we would go out there and we should be favourites to beat Norwich. We should be favourites to beat Burnley twice. And I had Crystal Palace on my 4 games to win, but they seem to be doing a number on Arsenal at the moment. But you could have something in there. We get 2 draws. We get something, who knows? We could draw against Leicester. We could draw against, who knows? We could spoil the party on the final day. But I think what the reason that I'm feeling very frustrated at the moment, and I feel frustrated with the season, is it's been so roller coaster. It's been up and down, and that's what we need to do. I've said it in a couple of groups and with a couple of people, and I've said it on Twitter. If we turn games into draws, we'll be a formidable outfit. And that's and I know when I think about it, I say that's easier said than done. But hear me out in this one. I said that I've seen this game 7 times already this season, and I have those 7 games whereby we've just rolled over and got our belly tickled, bar one of the games that I'm going to mention. Watford at home, when we lost 1-0 to that goal in the middle, like at the end, and we just had nothing. We had nothing in that game. We could have dug our holes in. I'm Freudian slips all over the place there. We could have dug our heels in that game and said 0-0 draw, point taken. Okay, it wasn't great. Point, that's fine. Just do not lose this game. But we lost it 1-0. Wolves at home, we're up 2-0 and we lose 3-2. At 2-2, you dig your heels in. You say, we don't lose this game no matter what. Okay, it's deflating, but we don't do anything silly. We pull all 10 men back. We play 2 goalkeepers if we need to. That's the lack of footballing intelligence that I mentioned that this team seems to have, and leadership. There's a bit of a lack of leadership. So that's 2. Newcastle away, Kieran Trippier's free kick. We did nothing for the whole game. And that free kick was just a badly organised wall. There was lots wrong in that. And look, once again, no leadership, no kind of get up and go to kind of go and make amends for it. Newcastle coming off, yes, signing all their players or whatever, but we've given them the impetus then to go on and score goals and win games. That's 3 games. Arsenal at home. Yes, they were peppering us, but we were keeping them at arm's length. They were playing much better than football than us. But Saka scores the goal. And then we can do nothing. We do nothing up until 5 minutes from the end of the game. And then we peppered our goals for a bit and we think, oh, we could have drawn that game. And maybe we could have. And I think we could have got a draw for that game. And that would have been one of the ones where we would be looking like Watford. Like Watford were against us, going, we came away with a result there and we shouldn't have. Brentford away. We were up 1-0. We conceded those 2 goals. The right back scores a goal out of nowhere. Little things like that. We lose a man at the back post. Stupid goals again. Spurs away. How was the Spurs away one again? Oh yeah, we go. It was 2-1. We pull the game back. Watkins pulls the game back to 1-1, and then 3 minutes later, Taggart scores no own goal. Couldn't settle it. We got ants in our pants. Just couldn't settle on it or anything like that. And Taggart scores no own goal. And then lastly, this is the one that's arguable. Man City at home. We lose 2-1. Chuck Mweka's gone through in the last minute, could have slipped it down the side of Ederson. Ederson makes a great save. So, like, I'm saying that there are 7 games with more leadership, more football intelligence, and a small bit more kind of, okay, let's take second prize here, but certainly do not take third prize of losing a game. We could have come out with 7 points from those games. 6 points anyway. Maybe the Arsenal one is a bit of a touch and go one there. But I certainly think that the City one, Chuck Mweka is going through. That's a great chance. He could have slid it down. And the other ones, I think, are ones that if we're cuter, if we're more intelligent in how we play, and we have, we could have come away with points from there. So call me mad. Maybe I'm looking at it with my claret and blue glasses, but it's a talking point. We turn losses into draws and things get things get better. Yes, Miles Morris. Yeah, don't forget Leeds 3-1 up. Yeah, there's 8.
I was sitting here waiting on you to say that one. It didn't come.
There's half our losses. There's half our losses this season. We've lost 16 games. There's half our losses. We turn half our losses into draws. There
you go. Look, we're a good way off here. We are a good way off. I really thought after the start that Gerrard had, we'd be looking at well into the top 10s. It didn't come. It's not going to come at this stage. So he's got a rebuilding project there. I saw someone in the comment mentioned that we're going to see starters bombed out in the summer. I truly believe that that's the case. I think that some of the backbone of that team is going to be shipped out in the summer. Judging by what he's saying, and it feels like there's some players there that he can't trust, but he just has to go with what he has. So, it's going to be it's making for a really, really interesting transfer window, and I think we could be I think we could be doing some knee-jerk podcasts like we did last summer.
My favorite, Paddy. My favorite type of podcast. We're going to finish Champions League position. They're my favorite podcasts. I love them. I love transfer season more than anything. It's my favorite, and that's me. But Paddy, do you know what? There's one player that won't be bombed out during the summer transfer. Well, he might be, but it's unlikely considering he signed up a new 5-year deal.
If he is, we're going to get a whole lot more money for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So on his way, before he goes off to the World Cup and lights it up for Poland, Mateusz Zloty, or whatever they call him, Matty Cash, has signed a new 5-year deal. And we've just talked there, and I've kind of went through all the emotional roller coaster there of it. I've been up, I've been down, I've thought about transfer season. I got all happy about Aston Villa again. And what you got to, I suppose, take into perspective is, I spoke about those 7 games now. The season went, and the season has been up and down. And that's the perspective we need to take from it. Some games you haven't been a million miles away, but it affects the overall feeling around the club. If you win 3 in a row and then lose 5, that's not great. Anyway, getting back to Matty Cash. Matty Cash isn't going to be somebody that's going to be bombed out of the club. He's here to stay. Going to go. Hopefully, he goes and rips it up at the World Cup. And as you say, if somebody does want to put cash on the table, excuse the pun, and Atletico Madrid do come calling, well, then maybe you might see a 5 or a 6 in front of the other number now, because we've no incentive to sell him at this stage. And
I have to admit, Neil, I was kind of thinking he was gone in my head. I was thinking. And we've given out about him over the season about his final ball and his attacking prowess, and that can be worked on. But I felt if there was an offer on the table that they might just cash in on him, bear in mind that the money that they might need to spend this summer. But with Ken Kessler-Hayden coming in, I'd say he's probably pissed off that Matt Cash has got a new contract today. I really thought that it was one that was going to go through this summer, so I was surprised to see it come in today. But don't get me wrong, I'm happy that he signed. I think there's great potential there. He's still a relatively young man. There's a lot that can be worked on, and I think if we go back to the way we were with those 2 strikers and not putting those 2 defenders so far forward, I think we'd be a much better side. But that's just my opinion. But I am happy that Matt Cash has committed his future. And I think we might see another couple coming in the next few weeks.
Yeah. One of the things, I suppose, seeing the Matt Cash piece really gave me a bit of a clearer view on stuff. That, yes, look, even that, after a defeat like that, you hear people say, oh, Are we really doing anything? Will the owners stick around? What's the long-term vision? Defeats like that, like when you see somebody like Matt Cash sign a 5-year deal, along with Emmy Martinez signing a 5-year deal this season, along with Jacob people like Tim being tied down. Who else was tied down this season? Kansas signed a new deal earlier on this season, I think. There's been people who've been signing deals.
Yeah.
So even amongst these losses, the club are, number one, still have the intelligence to protect their players, protect their investments in their players. But when you sign someone like Matt Cash, that just shows you that the squad assessment in the building, it ain't going anywhere. The day job is still happening behind the scenes. And these wins and these losses are, when we're looking at the fans and we're like, it's bloody wholly unacceptable and Steven Gerrard needs to face the music if we don't start winning soon. The board realized he came in mid-season. The board realized that, yeah, we had a January transfer window and we got Coutinho and we got Digne and we got Callum Chambers. But at the end of the day, it's difficult to kind of entice people to move in that instance. Digne wanted out. Callum Chambers was going to be let go on a free in the summer. And Coutinho, what was he doing? He was treading the bench for Barcelona and for Bayern the last couple of seasons, and at times, and he had injury issues. So we capitalized, and we were speculative in those areas, I think, which is great because the three of them have played pretty. Like when we've played well, the three of them have played really, really well for the club since they've come in. So that's great business so far. But to be able to go and to tie down somebody like Matty Cash and specifically Emmy Martinez is fantastic, and it's great. It's a great show of ambition, I suppose, and show where we are going to go, and hopefully what we will do during the summer. It's really interesting. And also, Paddy, the 5 subs means that one guy will have to come out at some stage, I think, during the summer here, and maybe we might see those players leave, but some players might have to be content with bench position here, lads. That's your role now.
I heard a little whisper today, Neil, that I'm not going to mention any names, but everyone could make up their own mind. But a certain young player who hadn't been committing his future is set to commit his future. So just wait for that in the next few days.
Brad Young is going to
Brad Young, yeah.
Well, do you know what? Be great. It would be. I've said it here. I've done the devil's advocate, and I've done everything, and I've gone up in the roller coaster of emotion with that as well. But that's it. It's great. It's great if we get to keep our own once again. If nothing else, and we just protect our investment. Like these guys who own the club, they know how to make money. They've got enough of it. They've got more zeros, in their bank accounts than it's like looking into a bowl of Cheerios. There's so many zeros at the end of their bank account, so it's they know how to make money, and hopefully they'll protect their investments. Paddy, we have a couple of rearranged games.
We do.
Liverpool. Oh God, I had these memorized so that I wouldn't have to look them up, and now they've completely flown the coop out the back of my brain.
I know Liverpool is the 10th of May because I might have
it's a Tuesday.
Have to say it quietly because I was looking at flights earlier on. But not going to work out, so it's grand. So Liverpool is the 10th of May, and then we play Burnley.
Burnley, I think, is the second last game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
just before
it's the midweek game before in between our last 2 games, as it was. So
I'm looking at here. Burnley's the 19th of May, and then so we'll have Liverpool. We'll have a busy 12 days. We'll have Burnley, Liverpool, Palace, Burnley. But 3 of those games are at home. Liverpool, Palace, and Burnley are at home.
Yeah. And then away to Man City.
And to spoil a party in the empty head then and last day of the season. Be great, wouldn't it? Palace now 3 up, it says.
Wow.
Look. It just happened. Look, we've been through this all season. Teams find their feet before they play us. It's fine. It's grand. We'll either win or we'll lose. We won't draw anyway. That's one thing for sure. We won't draw any of these games because we just seem incapable of doing it. And Palace is at home, actually. We might draw that, but we certainly won't draw away because we're the only team in Europe, I think, that hasn't drawn away this season. So, there's that. But yeah, look, more games to look forward to, and it's still in our hands to finish higher than where we did last season. Yeah, Palace winning today isn't exactly ideal, but we beat them. we go back above them again. You know, they're 3 points ahead of us, I think, now at this moment in time. But look, it's all within our own hands. Finish 10th or above, guys. That's the new goal. That's the new goal.
The goal for me now is to get who needs to be tied down, to get as many points on the board as you can and rebuild for next season. We're not in danger of going down, which is the most important thing as we head into April. That we're not having sleepless nights about going down. Everything is fine. Just needs a proper preseason, new players in there, get the business done early, get them all with a decent preseason under a belt, and push on next season. That's all we can hope for now. I've more or less written off the rest of this season. You know, we spoke about it last week when I said I wanted to see Sanson play a few games. I got my wish. He got his game. There's a few more I'd like to see in there.
He was good. Like he was okay. Like he was grand. Like it's what I'd say. Like I don't have anything bad to say about him. He did a lot of pressures, but you know, as I say, when we pressure people, we need somebody else then to come and put pressure on the person getting the ball. We can't have just one person running around the place, and that seems to happen in midfield. It's like
they're too far apart at that stage, aren't they?
That's exactly it. So like it's like we've got a homing missile at and one person's designated to be that person. It's usually McGinn. Run around after everybody. But then again, where's the space? Just and that was under Dean Smith too. So like this is maybe the way these players are playing. I don't know. It's Paddy. We need to log off because we could go down. We could be here for another 2.5 hours speaking about that. I do want to bring your attention to one thing. The Coutinho jersey was up there when we started. It was up there behind me, and then I moved it over here to this side, and then we won. And now I've just decided. I said, look, I'll move it here to a different position. Superstition sometimes gets the better of me, but let's see. If we go out and we beat Spurs because of where I moved my Coutinho jersey to, well then I take full 100% credit for it.
Clutching at straws now.
Absolutely. Guys, I do want to apologize and say with the comments, there's a bit of like we weren't sharing an awful lot of comments today. There's just a bit of an issue. A lot of them are coming in and they're pixelated and I can't see them. I think I know what the issue is for the next day. So we aren't ignoring your comments. Some of them are coming through. I just can't really see them here on my side. So I do apologize. If anybody has said something nice, thank you very much. If anybody has said something not nice about us, still thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to watch. But we that's really going to be
funnily enough, Neil, I didn't see anybody talking about someone getting sucked off. That's terrible.
I'm after getting 3 text messages about it. A Freudian slip. Yeah. Anyway, less about that, the better. Guys, we will be back.
Well, it was me last week. It was you this week.
Yeah, we'll be back with a preview show for Spurs. Might get my good mate Matt Hayes to come back on. He's on the crest of a wave at the moment. I see him there on Twitter tweeting about Arsenal losing. So I'll catch him in good form later on and see if he wants to pop on and chat to us about. Might be nice to listen to. To see where they're going, considering that they were in the depths of despair at the start of the season, and maybe we can learn something from how they've turned their season around. But thanks, Rod. I can't see it on my normal console here where I normally see them, so Paddy must be able to see that one. But that's great. Thank you so much, Rod. But we'll be back later in the week. We'll be back maybe on Thursday night with a preview show, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. And we'll see you then. The team sheet tantrum as well for the coming week. Just to let you guys know, Team Sheet Tantrum, we're going to be doing another takeover of the Villa View again at the weekend on Saturday, and it will be myself and Paddy this time. You won't have to look at me stuck in the middle of a mobile home in the middle of west of Ireland with crappy internet, terrified that I was going to get knocked off at any stage. So I'll be a bit more in my comfort zone sitting here in my podcasting boudoir at the weekend. But we'll see you there, and we'll see you later on in the week, either Wednesday or Thursday for a preview show. Thanks so much for checking in and for watching us. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.